The following podcast contains spoilers for Hustle and Flow. You have been warned!
What is up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of KFR News Radio. This is your host, Judgement Button, along with your host, Miguel Magusto. Get over here.
I'm over here. I'm here.
That's not, you are now.
Don't pull me with a rope.
Right.
Don't pull me with a rope.
How did you know?
Guys, the sound went away like you got further away from the mic.
Ooh.
That's how I got you. I got you on tape.
Cheeky little studio mic that I got here.
Yes.
Ugh.
How you doing, Glenn?
I'm not bad. It's fucking cold out.
Yeah, it's a nice 23 degrees. Going to get down to 11 tonight.
I like looking at the cold. I don't like being in it for a long period of time. And I was outside for a little bit today. I hated it.
I have never been in a cold that I didn't mind being in. That's not to say that it doesn't exist. I just have not experienced it. I like being cold. Way more than I like being hot. Because you know me.
Way more than being hot, yes.
I
way
sweat
more.
pretty easily. Like anything above 75. And I'm like, it's going to get swampy in certain areas.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but other than being chilly, how you doing?
Not bad. I didn't watch much. I'll get that right off my chest. My very
As
nice
expected.
sweatered chest right now.
Yeah.
What did I watch? I'm still watching The Outsider show. I watched, I think, an episode or two since we last talked. And we watched American Fiction.
Yes.
Yeah. Fantastic movie. But there is a review out there in the world for you to maybe check out to see on some deeper details on what we thought about.
Yes.
So maybe not. Whatever you want to do. I don't fucking tell you what to do.
Yeah, you live
But
your
you
own
should.
life.
But what about you, buddy?
Yeah, I've been good. Took my eldest boy. I got two boys now, so I got to specify which one,
Yeah.
or both.
Baby boys.
Took him sledding for the first time today, so that was fun.
Sledding?
Yeah. We got some snow. I've determined that it is the perfect amount of snow is 1 to 4 inches. Anything more starts getting annoying. And because you can sled in 1 to 4 inches of snow. It's not too difficult to shovel unless it like freezes over because of rain or whatever.
Yeah.
It's a good time.
And also walking in, too.
Yeah, walking
It's a
in's
bitch
not
if
too
it's
bad.
getting higher and higher.
Yeah, but I watched 6 movies. Yeah, 6 movies.
Ooh.
The first one, I'm not going to go through all of them, trying to be short with time again. The first one I watched, it's a Spanish language film directed by J.A. Bayona, who did The Orphanage, The Impossible. He did the second Jurassic World, which I want to say is Fallen Kingdom. I'm not 100% sure what the subtitle is for that. And A Monster Calls. This one is about the, not Ugandan, that's Africa. Uruguayan, however you pronounce that.
Uruguay.
They're from Uruguay. Or Uruguay, whatever the pronunciation is. The rugby team in the 70s that crashed into the Andes and unfortunately had to resort to cannibalism to survive. And it's just about their survival. They stayed up there for 72 days. And for a movie about cannibalism, or, cannibalism for survival, not just like wanting to eat people.
Yeah.
It's oddly inspirational. Because they were so resilient. It's really cool. I highly suggest people check out Society of Snow on Netflix. Society of the Snow. And it's just a really well-made film. Another banger by J.A. Bayona. Yeah, really enjoyed that one. It is graphic, obviously, because it's about cannibalism. Not as much as you would think. But the plane crash is pretty graphic. So if you're afraid of plane crashes, you might want to skip that particular part of it. Then I watched a movie called Quiz Lady with Sandra Oh and Awkwafina. This movie is about these two sisters whose mother has a lot of gambling debts. And they have to... Awkwafina's character is like obsessed with this Jeopardy type show. And she goes on the show to win money. The best part about it is that the audition that they go to is in Philadelphia. They go to a Philly sports bar.
So nearby.
Sandra Oh's character is trying to do something, and everyone's booing her, and Awkwafina just goes, I forget the character. I think Annie's Awkwafina's name, but she goes, "These are the people that punch police horses when they're happy." And then there's another part where they boo all the NFL teams that the Eagles hate. So yeah, just fun
As
time.
they should.
Yeah. Watch American Fiction. We got a review for that. Rewatched The Holdovers with friends because they wanted to watch it. Good time there. Jake Johnson from New Girl watched Self-Reliance. He wrote and directed it, his directorial debut. I had a lot of fun with it. I suggest people check it out. And then I watched Hustle and Flow, which we're going to get into right now.
Every man has the right to contribute a verse.
Let me sing like you do. Meant the world to me.
You in charge. I want to hear you say that. You my partner. Say it.
I'm in charge.
Everybody got to have a dream.
With help from his friends, a Memphis pimp in a midlife crisis attempts to become a successful hip-hop MC. Written and directed by Craig Brewer, stars Terrance Howard, Ludacris, Anthony Anderson. What's funny is one of those dudes is not in the movie as much as the other three girls, and it drives me nuts. Taryn Manning, Taraji P. Henson, and DJ Qualls. The rest of the people in there are kind of more in the background than anything. But yeah, this is a movie that has been on my docket, my watch list for quite a while, and really wanted to see it. I also haven't seen that many, at least starring roles with Terrance Howard in it, and I really wanted to try to fix that. So here we are. We're watching the good old Hustle and Flow. Now, you were a little bit weary on wanting to watch this because apparently you don't really care for Taryn Manning's character or just her in particular.
I admit I was a little. Oh, sorry, I'm trying to cover up the strippers right now.
Oh yeah,
I was.
Oh, that part. Yeah.
It's that part right now. I was
Cover.
I was a little prejudiced against her character because one of my pet peeves is I'm trying to think of the best way to put this is I don't, pet peeves isn't the right word. Her character just looked like really trashy to me. And I know that sounds really mean. It is mean. I take full responsibility for being mean with that. Oh, yeah. Sorry, there's a butt on the screen right now. And boobs. Oh no.
Maybe you should skip forward maybe half an hour.
I'm gonna sit over here. Oh, someone's twerking.
Yeah, that part.
Okay, we're safe now. Anyway, so yeah, I was just prejudiced towards her character. I hated the look of her character. It is the kind of person that makes me feel very uneasy.
Yeah.
I don't know why. It just is the way that is. And it also looked very sweaty, and I don't like sweating, so I don't like watching movies that are sweaty.
Yeah, I completely understand.
I had a much better time watching Society of the Snow, which is about cannibalism, than I did, watching movies where people sweat a lot, like this. I'm trying to think of others. I can't think of it at the moment. But just like survival movies that take place in the heat, I'm like, oh God. And then in the Andes, where there's nothing to eat except for other people, I'm just like, oh yeah, I'd rather do that than be on a deserted island.
Yeah.
So yeah, the whole sweatiness of it and also I'm not a big hip hop guy. That's honestly probably the biggest thing. I'm probably just projecting that onto characters and the sweatiness of it. I just didn't like the look of the movie. And nothing about it piqued my interest at all.
It looked a little grittier than it actually was.
It's not even the grittiness. I don't mind a gritty movie. It's not the subject matter that I like. I don't mind even watching things with like trashy looking people, if it's something that looks interesting to me. Another one of this director's movies, Black Snake Moan. same things.
Oh, yeah.
Sweaty and kind of trashy looking. I love Black Snake
Christina
Moan.
Ricci, isn't it?
Yeah,
too?
I love Black Snake Moan. I think it's a fantastic film. I'm not going to get into what I thought about this just yet, but like,
Yeah.
it's. I'm just not big into the whole world that it was creating.
Yes.
It's just not my cup of tea. That's the only reason I didn't really want to watch it. And I feel like you made me dig myself into a hole
I did.
that I don't know if I got out of, but we'll see.
So one other thing I wanted to I told Mike this right before we started that
Oh, Monster is another movie where it just like looked like trashy people, so I avoided it for a long time. So sorry, that one just popped in my mind. With Charlize Theron. So it's not just this movie. It's just I have an aversion to movies that it just seems mean that they're just like making these people more trashy than they would be in real life, if that makes sense.
So one of the biggest memories that I have of this movie is obviously not watching the movie, because I think I stated last time that I had not watched it. But it's watching the trailer for this movie, and in the trailer they get to the part where they're creating this song, and Taraji P. Henson's like doing like the hook, the chorus, and I always thought, because all of the characters are sweating, they're all like grimy looking, and I'm like, and then she gets into that hook, she's like, it's hot out here for a pimp. And then I was like, it is hot out here. It is hot out here for a pimp, because you're sweating. I'm sweating just watching you. It's hot out here. I thought my whole life, I thought the lyrics were, it's hot out here for a pimp. Just to be ripped away from me in this movie that it's been hard out here for a pimp this whole time, and not hot. He don't care about the heat. He don't care about the weather. He cares about how hard it is for him. I'm so upset. So upset with the quality of my lyrical genius.
I knew it was hard just because I watched the Oscars when they performed the song, and it's at it on the lower third. So I didn't have that problem, but I could see that because I had a problem understanding. Like, I was glad that I had subtitles because I had a problem understanding their accents sometimes.
Yeah.
Like it's they're
takes place in Memphis, Tennessee.
Yeah, and it's just whatever accent that they were using, whether it's real or exaggerated for the movie. I was just like, half the time I was like, "What'd you say? Huh?" So I'm glad that there were subtitles. So I could see why you would think it was hot, especially with singing, because you change the pronunciation of words when singing.
I'm so bad when it comes to like lyric. I'm like, yeah, that's actually a good lyric, or like I'll be like, I have no idea what the fuck he is saying or they are saying in that specific, not this specific song. Well, obviously, I knew that was a problem going in, but just overall in general, like I don't know what it is. I'm just bad. I can't understand people, but it sounds good, and that's what pleasures my ears. Ugh, God, take that as you will. But yeah, I this movie was a lot more not as gritty as I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be more down in this like a whole like a pimp struggle and everything like that. God, it sounds so weird coming from my mouth. Like the struggle of like his life, and I thought he had. No, I'm digging myself a hole. More hoes, man. I thought he had more hoes than this. I don't know. I thought it was going to be more into it. I didn't think he was going to like that. I didn't think it was necessarily a midlife crisis of him getting into or him trying to get into a music career. I thought it was more of his life or their life struggles, more or less, which it was. I just thought it was on a different level, like more into it than it was.
Yeah.
But I was pleasantly surprised of how much that it didn't go into that, and how kind of grounded it was in their lives and trying to move forward and trying to get out of that lifestyle and everything like that.
Yeah.
And like specifically, I hate like those documentary style movies like Bohemian Rhapsody and shit like that.
I was thinking about that while this was happening, and I'm curious what your thoughts are on that, because I want to see if they're the same.
I don't know. I can't stand those types of movies where it's like, obviously we know who Queen is and we know who Elton John is and all those people, but like when they just kind of like have to kind of skip forward to the fact that they like, oh, yeah, that's a good hook. Let me make the whole song right now in like 5 minutes. I'm in this. They come up with something. They build the song together in like a whole span of time. Like it was a whole long scene. It wasn't just like I've got the hook. Let me come up with it here, and then oh yeah, Jolly Roger, that's pretty nice. Hello, and then just it kept like they just grabbed the song out of midair. Like at least in this, it felt like they fucking made it together, and it was like kind of a struggle to get it to be made or get it pushed forward. I loved that for this, especially them all interacting together, especially DJ Qualls and how white he was, but how he was coming out.
I love DJ Qualls.
He was great.
And
He's so funny.
when he was everywhere in the early 2000s.
Yep.
He was in like The New Guy, The Core, this, plenty of others that I can't think of at the moment. But he was like the guy for mainly comedies, or to be that quirky guy, that fish out of water within a movie, like he is in The Core and in this. And then he just like disappeared, and I don't know if it's just because like he aged out of the kind of roles he was getting.
I feel like it was probably like
he's still working, just not to the extent that he was from like 2000.
I feel like those movies kind of like swerved away from like I don't know how to explain it. Like we kind of got out of those type of movies. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it was like very quick. He was like boom and then gone.
Yeah. Yeah. And I hope he made his money because I like him. I've always liked him. The Core.
He's still doing stuff.
Well, yeah. He's still working. But like I said, just not to the extent that he had been. But yeah, I completely agree with you. I think that they do a better job of showing the songwriting process. Obviously, it's still expedited because it's a less than 2 hour movie. They can't put the whole process there. But I loved the part where he like kicked Anthony Mackie's character and DJ Qualls. I think it was right after they recorded Taraji P. Henson's vocals for the hook on one song, and then they kicked him out. And you could just hear them like messing with stuff while like putting it together.
You can hear them mixing the song up to like fit.
Yeah, and I love that it showed that it takes time. Again, not as much time as it actually does take. But you're right. It felt longer than just like, oh, listen to this. Oh, top of the morning, cup of tea, and all that.
We're just putting British voices on it because
Bohemian
Rhapsody,
which, by the way,
one of the worst.
Bohemian Rhapsody is just a bad movie in general. I think that the hype around that movie is unwarranted completely, and the only reason people hype that movie up is because everyone likes Queen. There's not a single person on this planet that doesn't like Queen, so everyone was just like, "Oh, that movie's great." But if you watch it just as like a biopic for just a band, not great. Yep. Not great. Rami Malek did not deserve the Oscar for that. I love Rami Malek, but he did not deserve the Oscar.
And he did
for that.
great, but
he did.
No, he. It's like there's
an argument. And the fact that Taron
going...
Egerton was not nominated for playing Elton John in Rocket Man, he's phenomenal in Rocket Man. And
it's kind of like a debate right now going on with the Game Awards kind of happened a little bit ago, and everybody was like, "Oh yeah, a remake shouldn't be even considered for Game of the Year." It's kind of like that. I feel like biopics, they could be really good. I feel like they should probably have their own category. Same with like video game remakes.
The problem is that they think that people don't want more categories because it lengthens the ceremony.
Oh, no, 100%.
Which to an extent, you're right. But you can't just be like, oh, this is the best picture, and then I think the one thing the Golden Globes does is separating comedy and dramas. But they also mess that up by combining comedy and musicals together.
Oh, God.
Because you can't compare because dramas are going to make people feel more than comedies are. So they're going to win a good amount of the time for people who are going based off of feeling more than they are, how much they enjoyed it. But I think that this does a real good job at showing the songwriting process. And I was thinking about you when that was happening. I was like, this is still really fast, but it's better than most
Well, it was funny because when I was watching it, I was like, I'm going to fucking say something about this.
Have you watched the Weird Al Yankovic biopic, which is not really a biopic?
I have not. It's on Apple, right?
Yeah. So that, because he's a parody songwriter, they parodied the entire genre of biopics.
Yeah.
And that is like a big thing where like a song just
if
pops
anybody's
up.
going to do it like that, it's for sure going to be him.
I think you would really like it. You should really check it out on Roku.
Yeah, I'll get to it.
Yeah, but overall, the biggest thing for me is that just like I am not a big fan of hip hop, and I kind of wanted to talk to you because you and I listen to a lot of the same music, but I feel like you lean more hip hop than I do sometimes.
A lot of the time.
Yeah, a lot of the time.
Yeah.
How did you feel about his rapping in this? Because from someone who's not, I listen to some rap, but not enough to like be like, oh, this is. I don't want to just objectively say that his rapping is not impressive in this, but I was not impressed with his rapping in this. But I could be wrong.
So I mean, one thing I do kind of want to look up is when does this take place in 2005?
I believe it does.
Because at that time, maybe. I mean, he's no Tupac or anything, but
yeah.
So there was a genre like the Southern rap. I mean, that for what he was rapping, yes, I think his rapping was good, and I think a lot of Southern rap, like Outkast. Outkast is that Southern. What is it? God, I'm trying to remember the actual name of the genre, but like they're.
I know it's by City a lot.
Yeah, so like they're that Southern rap. It's like a different style. So like on its own, he wasn't that bad. Actually, he was pretty decent.
Yeah, like I didn't want to just objectively say he was bad, but like I guess it's just not the type of rap that I like.
Yeah, I mean, and also in context of this movie, he's just a pimp that turned.
Yeah, like
he was just trying to.
I
rap.
think the level of success he got at the end was very realistic for what he was doing.
Yeah.
And that's not to say like I didn't like the songs. It's just I wasn't impressed with them, and I don't know if I was like it was intended for me to be impressed with them. But
no, I don't think it was
wasn't.
trying to like make you impressed. But I think he's
I
just
was
trying
impressed
to get
with
out
like
of
the backtrack, the beats that were made,
the ad libs and the
hooks that were made.
Yeah,
but
those
as far
were
as
really good.
as far as what he did, I was just like, it's fine.
As far as the context of what he did before, like just doing this, like it's from his personal life. It's not anything like a lyrical genius. I mean, he knows that. So like for what he is, yeah, I mean it's pretty good. Like to be able to get a flow like that, kind of like perfectly off stretch. I think it did really well. I mean, like even in Compton, they made
Straight Outta
Easy.
Compton?
Straight Outta Compton, yeah, sorry. It's like that whole Eazy-E part. He was never just a rapper. He wasn't trying to make it in the music business. He just kind of ended up like that. I think Straight Outta Compton did it pretty well too. Of how I don't know what Eazy-E's kind of like title was back then, but he was just a real like street dude, and then got transitioned into it by those guys. Dre and Cube and them, and Ren. So like he kind of transitioned. It's like the same thing with that. Like he wasn't born. He wasn't looking to be a rapper or anything like that. He just kind of happened. So I think for the context of it, I think it was pretty good.
Okay,
but
cool.
like nothing to blow. It's not like he was trying to be Tupac or anything like that. No.
He was trying.
He was just trying to make it.
out
of the hood.
Yeah. I just wanted to check with you because I knew that like I don't have the wherewithal to know if that's good rap because I don't really care about rap. I'm not one of those people that's like, oh, rap's not real music. It's just not my cup of tea.
Yeah.
I do listen to some rap. It's few and far between. But it just
as far as like the underground stuff, I think it was pretty good. Like there's a lot of. I'm not musically talented. I'm trying to be. You can see the keyboard over here. I'm getting there one day. I'm not musically talented, so I can't say what is and what's not, trash. But I could try. As I'm we're both movie critics here, but
Speaking of trash, this movie.
Yeah, I mean this for the setup of the midlife crisis and everything like that, and him trying to just get out of the hood and everything. I think the music was good. I think the hooks were very good. I think the hooks is what made it.
I would agree
for
with
sure. Even the beats, just the chemistry they had while mixing the songs and everything like that, I thought was really well done. Encapsulated like kind of like the struggle they were all having of just like trying to make these fucking songs. Anthony Anderson, and just like there is one part of this movie I want to get out real quick that he was. So obviously, he's in those scary movies, right? And
Anthony Anderson.
Yeah. He's in like 3 or 4. He's in like a couple of them.
He's also in Kangaroo Jack.
He's also in Kangaroo Jack. But there's one scene where him and Terrance Howard are talking, and they're just talking about. I know a lot of people who are talking the talk, and I know a lot of people who are walking the walk. And as soon as they were having that monologue to each other, I couldn't get the fact that he was like his character in Scary Movie talking to Kevin Hart. A lot of people are talking the talk, and a lot of people are walking the walk, but you never walk the walk without talking the talk. You never talk the talk without walking the walk. I just imagined them. I just imagined Terrance Howard just being Kevin Hart and those two going back. Yeah, but I'm willing to walk the walk. Are you willing to talk the talk? Well, you can't talk the talk and walk the walk. It's that whole monologue, if you remember.
I wonder if that was a spoof of this.
Maybe, and he just happened to be a character.
They kind of were just spoofing all movies at a certain part. Scary Movie 4, 2006. That's after this.
Because
he's in Scary Movie 3.
What's one of the you can't go to bed dead, or you can't wake up dead.
Yeah.
you go to sleep dead, or something like that.
Yeah.
It just reminded me of that whole conversation that they had in Scary Movie, and I just couldn't get that. Like, it was a serious conversation of him like trying not to do his day-to-day work life. If this is real, it's got to be real. And I just couldn't get it out of my head that Scary Movie.
Yeah, definitely.
It was just too funny.
Yeah, I love Anthony Anderson, his character in this. I love DJ Qualls' character. I pretty much like all the characters except for DJ, funnily enough, Ludacris's character, and then whoever the woman he kicks out is. I think it's Lexus, maybe? No, or is it Yvette?
No, Yvette's Anthony Anderson's. It's Lexus.
So it's Lexus. So Paula Jai Parker. And when I understand why he kicked her out, but when he kicked that baby out, I was just like, I do not care what this man's life is anymore.
Yeah.
Like, it just, not that his character has to be likable, but it just kind of completely ruined the movie for me, where I just didn't care anymore. I was just like, I don't care about his musical career. I don't care if he makes it. I hope he suffers for kicking that precious baby boy out. And it didn't happen.
I mean, technically, kind of towards, we'll get there.
Yeah. So it just, I don't know.
It was a really shit thing to do.
Yeah, I admire that they weren't trying to make a likable character. But it also kind of ruined the movie for me, because I stopped caring at that point, because I barely cared to begin with.
Yeah.
And then when he did that, I was like, oh, I just don't care anymore. Maybe I care about Shug, played by Taraji P. Henson, who's just trying her best.
She is.
And obviously care about Anthony Anderson and DJ.
She made me want to get a lava lamp again.
Yeah.
Funnily enough,
I actually like Taryn Mannings' character in this.
Yeah.
Especially the fact that she was just looking for AC the entire time. I was like, girl, I hear that. So the character that I was prejudiced for ended up being one of I wouldn't say my favorite character, but like one of the better.
Yeah, that one goes
characters
to Taraji.
Well, for me, it's Anthony Anderson. I just loved his character.
Yeah, he was
the
good.
fact that like he wanted to do this, but was still completely devoted to his wife, because it could have so easily been like, oh, I want to spend time with these sex workers and kind of get things from them that I don't get from my wife. But he was very defensive of his wife whenever someone said anything bad about her. So his character was just super likable. But yeah, I think overall it's just not my kind of movie. which is fine. Not every movie's made for everybody. And I was just kind of hoping for more from a movie that I didn't really want to see to begin with.
Yeah.
But it's not a bad movie. I acknowledge that it's a well-made movie. I think what's his first name? Craig Brewer. I think he's a great director. I talked about Black Snake Moan earlier. It's just this one kind of fell flat for me.
Yeah.
And
I'm assuming Craig is from the South.
he's from his father was in the military, so he was born in Virginia, moved around a lot, but then grew up mainly in Vallejo, California.
He's been all over. Yeah, he was born in Virginia. Yeah, I wasn't. The movie didn't get ruined for me through the baby thing.
Yeah.
It did paint him as a fucking piece of shit.
It also doesn't help that I already have personal interactions with Terrance Howard where I didn't like him.
Yeah.
And then he's playing a character that I don't like. So it honestly was like, I don't want to say it was dead from the start, but it did not have a good chance for me.
Yeah. I mean, the both of them didn't have a good relationship in the first place.
Yeah.
I mean, what I thought out of that scene was going to happen is he was going to kick her out, put the baby out, show how serious he was, and like prove some dominance of like, you don't run this house, I do. Mm-hmm. And then what I thought was going to happen is, maybe the baby's crying in the background for a couple more like brief shots or something like that. And then she's like gathering all her stuff, and then he opens I thought that was going to happen. He opens the door and lets her back in.
I don't know if that necessarily.
I could put you out on these streets in any second. I thought that was going to happen.
I don't necessarily think that would have been better writing wise.
No,
but it would have brought me back on board at least a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it would have.
Because once that happened, I was checked out. I was like, whatever.
Yeah, it would have showed how in charge he was.
Yeah.
But then it kind of, if he did let her back in, it would have immediately showed that, he's kind of I'll just stand out here for a couple minutes, letting the baby cry, and I'll just push back over. It didn't ruin the movie for me, but I mean, it definitely painted him as a piece of shit.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
To be fair, I was already not really into the movie until that happened. And then that happened, and I was like, okay, whatever.
But I feel like the rest of the movie for me, I thought was definitely great. All the mixing with the song and everything like that. Just those guys interacting with each other. And then what kind of fell off for me is more or less the end of the movie. So before the end that I'm talking about, obviously we've got Terrance Howard trying to link up with Ludacris's character. Skinny Black is his name, I think. Yeah, Skinny Black claims that he knows Skinny Black, that they go back in like school days or something like that. Mm-hmm. Or like he helped him promote his albums like in parking lots, dishing out demos and stuff like that. So they finally meet up. He's trying to get his tape to Skinny Black so he can try to get out there, get his name out there, yada yada. And then that whole situation happens. Which I thought they did well, kind of having DJ put under pressure and show his charismatic side, and just showing that he means business when he's trying to get his name out there.
Yeah,
I thought that was all cool. And then Ludacris, I fucking despised in this movie.
Yeah, and you're supposed to.
You're supposed to. It's his character. So I thought he did great. And I thought the whole scene where they fucking tussled in the bathroom was great. But I hated what happened after. It just felt so wrapped up in a bow, I guess.
It felt studio forced.
Yeah.
Where they're just like, we got to have a happy ending.
Yeah.
I know he's in prison, but can't good things happen while he's in prison?
So after the fight with Luda, the bar ends up kind of in a shootout. DJ kind of gets out of there, and everybody ends up at his house before he even gets there. You think he would have gotten there first and got the hell out of Dodge.
Yeah.
But everybody from the bar ended up at his own place faster than he got there. And the police.
Because they somehow knew who he, like, for not knowing who he was.
Nobody knew who he was but the bar guy, but they all ended up there before he did. Sure, he could have been driving around kind of thinking about what the hell he's going to do, but they never showed that. It was just like a bar scene, boom, cops are already there, yada, yada. And then, the whole thing, him getting arrested, gives himself in, turns himself in. And then it just wraps into a nice little bow too much where Taryn's character kind of show runs from there and like puts his tape out. And then the radio is playing him, and everybody knows now who DJ is. Well, at least a small part of Memphis knows who he is after what he did to Skinny Black. And then Suge's doing good with the kid, Key's helping. It just wrapped into a bow too nicely. Yes, I think the credit that he got from like the whole thing with Skinny Black would have worked out. I just don't like the way it just got all pushed instantly. Like, oh, we're doing good things out here. Like,
it felt like an Ocean's 11 ending. Yeah, with like a montage of Taryn going to different DJs and everything. On radios.
It's the only qualm that I have with the whole movie, honestly. I loved the whole movie, actually. I really enjoyed it. It was cool to get a nice taste of Tennessee. And just, by the way, I was watching this, fucking freezing in the room I was watching it in. Fucking freezing. Everyone in this movie sweating their dicks off. They're women in this movie, sweating dicks off. Don't know what to tell you. Yeah. Me, going like this. Watching it, I'm like, God damn it, you lucky bastards for a millisecond. And then I'd hate being sweaty, but you lucky son of a bitch. But yeah, I like the movie. The only biggest problem that I had with it was the ending.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it would have been a better ending if like, I know street cred's a whole thing with hip hop. That's one aspect of hip hop I always thought was kind of weird. I was like, oh, you got to do time in order to be respected. Like, why? Why is that? It's just a gang thing. Yeah. I know that's
least the street cred thing.
Yeah,
specifically.
that's been lessened over the past decade or two. But I know that it was a big thing. I mean, that's why Tupac and Biggie are dead. So it's
from another character named Suge.
yeah. So I just think, so despite, that being a big thing in the rap world and culture and all that, I think it would have been better if he had just kept his cool. He could have passed that on to someone else and something else could have happened. But because he lost his cool, now he's in prison and nothing's going to happen. And then once he's out, it's just going to be this cycle. I think it would have been better if it was just about the cycle. But yeah, it just ended up, and then like his the guards in the prison are like respecting him and be like, oh, listen to our demo tape and see tell us what you think. It's like, it just seemed like such a hokey ending.
I feel like there's a better way to get that across of like getting handed a tape and being like, yo, what can you do with this? I don't think from cops would have been a good way. Maybe another.
So a lot of the security guards at the movie theater were prison guards, and a lot of them said that if you don't respect the prisoners, you're going to have a bad day. Because the prisoners will respect the guards that respect them, and vice versa, and all that. So it's in everyone's best interest if everyone treats each other like humans. And so I didn't hate that it was guards. I just hated that it happened at all. Because I think it's a much more interesting story if he just ruined everything with his actions that with the anger that he had. So yeah, I'm with you. I think it's just it's a weak ending. I didn't like the movie as much as you did, even leading up to that. That's not my least favorite part of the whole thing, but it definitely didn't help the case. So yeah, I'm with you in that case. But before that, the scene with Ludacris was electric. Like when that was happening, I was like, I might actually end up liking this movie a lot. Yeah, because I was really enthralled with that scene, and then it just went downhill after that.
Just kind of slumped.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't have too much to say myself.
Let's see. The last thing I'm going to say is that anytime Isaac Hayes was in a scene, all I heard was Chef from South Park. Every time he said that, hello, children, that's just what I imagined he was saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just funny. I hate it when
he passed away, didn't he?
He did. He passed away in I think before 2010.
Not too long after this movie.
Yeah.
2008.
And there's like a whole thing with where like the South Park guys, Matt and Trey, thought that he just kind of like got mad at them for doing a episode about Scientology. Oh, and sorry, boobs were on the screen.
Ooh.
And
I know which ones too. They were Terrance, weren't they?
They were Terrance. Completely gratuitous, by the way, that shot. But yeah, so Matt Stone and Trey Parker thought that he had just like blew them off because he was mad about an episode about Scientology. But at that point, he was already like had his mental capacity had deteriorated so much that he didn't even know what was going on. And the Church of Scientology, which he is a part of, was the one that said that he hated how they treated the Church of Scientology. So they were mad at him for no reason. That's what I heard. I don't know how true that is, but I think that's pretty interesting. But yeah, it's a fine movie. It's not really my cup of tea. I love Anthony Anderson and DJ Qualls in it. I love that Taryn Manning's just looking for air conditioning the whole time because that's
the
me.
whole time.
In the summer, I'm just looking for air conditioning. From one air conditioning place to another. That's all I care about.
Luckily, we're not in the Tennessee heat, though.
Oh, yeah. Tennessee.
Even Virginia heat fucking sucked.
Yeah.
That's
Florida
only like
heat.
one state down.
I lived in Florida for less than 2 years, and I hated it.
I was there for a week.
Hated
I
it.
fucking hated it.
Yeah. Florida's the worst state in the union. I have family that lives in Florida, so I can say that. So
Yeah.
it's awful. But yeah, it is what it is. I guess we should get into the judgment.
Yes.
Yeah. Glenn,
Oh.
this was your pick. So I forgot my whole thing. It's been so long since we did 2 of these.
It's been a minute.
So that what does it for our review. That brings us to the judgment. As always, it needs to be a unanimous decision whether or not it goes on the KFR shelf with the likes of Apostle and Handmaiden. Glenn, this was your pick.
Yes, it
Does
was.
it go on the shelf?
I think I want to put it on the shelf, but I already know that it's not gonna.
How do you know?
I think I personally thought it was a good movie, but I mean, I can understand the quarrels that you have with it enough to know that it probably won't go. But I enjoyed the whole time watching it, except for the Hallmark ending that it kind of had, enough to want to put it on the shelf.
Yeah.
Personally.
I mean, I don't want to say that you're right, but you're right. I did not care for it. I think, personally, all the movies from Craig Brewer that I have seen, I prefer over this. I admit that this is a well-made movie, and I know it has its audience, and I understand why it has its audience, but it's just too many factors in it were keeping me from enjoying this movie. So I'm going to say no, it does not go on the shelf, and I'm sorry, Glenn.
It's okay.
But you didn't put Clifford on, you son of a bitch.
I didn't. It all goes full circle. It's okay.
It does. So, unfortunately, I do apologize. Hustle and Flow does not go on the KFR shelf with the likes of Apostle and Handmaiden, but you can put it on your own shelf if you own it on
Yeah,
DVD.
damn it, do it.
Or Blu-ray, yeah.
Or don't.
So that brings us to next episode's assignment. You're probably watching this 2 weeks after our Clifford episode came out. We just decided as a duo that we're going to do these podcasts every 2 weeks because every week is getting a little bit much for us. So
It's just a little bit of a lot.
yes, in 2 weeks we're going to watch a streaming roulette movie because it is that time. So for those of you who don't know, streaming roulette, every third week we let a roulette wheel spin. It's a real wheel. It's the size of Rhode Island, and we spin it. It has every movie of all the streaming services we subscribe to.
That thing is big.
We spin it 3 times, and we pick the movie we want to see most out of those 3. So, without any further ado, here comes spin number 1. Oh no, he's going to throw out the baby soon. Oh no.
Oh, no.
Spin number 1. A Cult is My Passport from 1967. I wonder if that's talking about a gun or if it's talking about a baby horse.
A cult is my... Oh, yeah. I put cult as in like a group of people.
It's a Japanese movie. A hitman is hired to kill a mob boss. After the deed is done, he and his drivers are wanted dead by rival gangs who joined forces. This is going to be... Let me see where this is, because I don't know. My whole thing's kind of weird. It's going to be on Criterion Channel.
Ooh, perfect.
Directed by Takashi Nomura. Written by Shinji Fujiwara, Hidaichi Nagahara, and Nobuo Yamada. Starring Joe Shishido, Jerry Fujio, Chitose Kobayashi, and Ryotaro Shugi. This is going to be on Criterion Channel. 7.4 out of 10 on IMDb. Cult is my passport. Interesting. I've never even heard that movie, but it sounds interesting. So yeah, that was our first movie. Let's spin number 2. Temple Grandin. I've heard of this movie. From 2010. It's going to be on HBO Max. And where else? Amazon, if you have the HBO Max. It's just HBO Max.
I think all those probably all lead to Max too, yeah.
Yeah. A biopic of Temple Grandin, an autistic woman who became one of the top scientists in humane livestock handling industry. Directed by Mick Jackson, written by Temple Grandin, Margaret Scariano, and Christopher Monger. Starring Claire Danes, Julia Ormond, David Strathairn, and Catherine O'Hara. 8.2 out of 10 on IMDb. Damn, that's high.
That's a lot.
Hour 47 minutes. Oh, Cult is my passport is an hour 24 minutes, by the way. So Temple Grandin, I know this has won a few awards. Won 7 Primetime Emmys back when that came out.
Whoa.
So Temple Grandin, that is spin number 2. Here comes spin number 3. Surarai Patru. I believe this is a Bollywood movie or a movie from India. How do I pronounce or spell that? Soorarai Pottru.
Oh, I got it. Okay.
2 hours 33 minutes. Yikes. From 2020. What?
Damn, that's got a hell of a good rating. I'll tell you what.
Yeah, 8.7 out of 10. Nidumaran Rajangam, or Mara for short, sets out to make the common man fly. And in the process takes on the world's most capital-intensive industry and several enemies who stand in the way. Directed by Sudha Kangara and written by Sudha Kangara, Shalini Ushadevi, and Vijay Kumar. Starring Surya, Paresh Rawal, Akyuth, again, I apologize for these mispronunciations. Akyuth Kumar and Urvashi. This is going to be on Amazon Prime. So we got a Bollywood movie, pretty sure. Let me just double check that that's where it is from. Oh man, where is it? They never have it for Bollywood movies where it's from or what language it's in. Oh, it's just down further. Yeah, it's from India, so yeah. So we have Surarai Patru, Temple Grandin, and A Cult is My Passport. I'm leaning A Cult is My Passport, personally.
How did you read my mind?
Because we're pretty much the same, except for when it comes to hustle and flow.
Yeah, and Clifford. Yeah, I'm definitely leaning A Cult is My Passport. Mainly because I haven't seen too many rival gang Japanese films.
Yeah.
So
I haven't seen too many old Japanese movies that weren't directed by Akira.
That too, yeah.
Akira Kurosawa and or a Godzilla movie.
Mm-hmm.
So should we just go with it?
I think we should go with it.
Cool. So A Cult is My Passport is available on Criterion Channel. That is our movie for next episode, which will be released in 2 weeks. Thank you, everyone, for listening and watching. As always, you can check out our website at www.keystonefilmreview.com. On Instagram, we're Keystone_film_review. Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, Keystone Film Review. And on Letterboxd, I'm Mike, KFR.
And I'm Glenn, KFR.
And that will do it until next week when we watch a movie. And just because they say it in pretty much every Godzilla movie, I wonder if they're going to go, Yatta! Which means I did it or we did it, depending on who's saying it.
Who done it?
Yeah.
We'll find out.
We will find out. On Criterion Channel.
Yes.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye-bye.